Comox's First Nation artist Andy Everson has decided to indigenize Star Wars images, and the results are magnificent. But now the question arises, when are the social justice warriors going to lodge a complaint about Everson's politically incorrect work? Andy Everson recently decided to put his own unique indigenized take on Star Wars imagery, and the results are superb. Indeed, the vast majority of Star Wars fans love the final product. The first run of merchandise depicting the Aboriginal-themed Star Wars characters sold out quickly. In a CBC.ca news story, Everson says that growing up in the 70s, Star Wars influenced him in numerous ways, and eventually the opportunity arose in which he could use his artistic talents to modify the iconic images of Darth Vader, the Stormtroopers, and so on. Naturally, this being 2018, there's a political angle to Everson indigenizing the outfits worn by the villains of Star Wars. Similar to how the Empire in the Star Wars universe rules with an iron fist, Everson states Indigenous peoples are still oppressed in many ways. Even so, being a supporter of freedom of expression, I applaud Everson's artwork. He's a gifted artist, and given that the t-shirts displaying his craft work are being snapped up by Star Wars fans the world over, there's clearly a market demand for this product. But even so, I must ponder the question, what's wrong with this picture? Because isn't the whole idea of taking something created by others and embracing it or modifying it the very definition of cultural appropriation? Indeed, I don't think Star Wars creator George Lucas is native, not even 1/32nd Cherokee a la Elizabeth Warren. Oh, and speaking of Pocahontas, the Star Wars franchise is now owned outright by Disney. Yes, the same Disney company that was raked over the coals by certain native groups and the progressive left for its animated Pocahontas movie back in 1995. Meanwhile, last year alone, we witnessed numerous temper tantrums from the progressives regarding alleged cultural appropriation. Evidently, if you're a white woman, you're not allowed to wear hoop earrings. And if you're not an Aussie Aboriginal, well, don't even think about throwing a boomerang around. And if you're a gringo, well, don't you dare start cooking enchiladas. And I don't think cultural appropriation works in reverse, which is to say, anything created by Caucasians falls into the realm of public domain. So Everson won't be condemned by the usual suspects in the first place. By the way, I don't have a problem with any cultural appropriation. It's been happening for millennia now and should be regarded as praise for a culture, not an act of thievery. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, after all. And I don't think Everson is against cross-pollination either. He says in the CBC piece that his Star Wars art drew inspiration from history, adding that when First Nations traded with the Europeans for clothes, they often found ways to put their own crest figures on them or add button designs. And this is where the cultural appropriation zealots should give their heads a shake, for this is really a story of an Indigenous person working in tandem, not just with an iconic slice of science fiction, but something that bridges the gaps between people, be it film, art, literature, or music. The end result is not appropriation, but rather a unique creation and a tale of how two disparate groups working together can enhance each other's endeavors. It's plus, not a matter of one group taking away from another, which, sadly, always seems to be the left's narrative these days. For the Rebel.media, I'm David the Menzoid Menzies. Hey folks, if you liked that video, please click subscribe below and never miss another Rebel rant.